back here and we're getting ready to continue on that first handout that Dr. Reyes gave you, and we are on problem number 4. And the problem is the medication label reads 0.5 grams per 2 mLs. How many mLs will the nurse prepare if the physician order is for 35 milligrams? So in this problem, we do have a conversion, all right? So this is number 4. So like always, we are looking for mLs, and I'm writing down my data. We've got 0.5 grams over 2 mLs, per 2 mLs, and we've got 35 milligrams. Now, what's important about this is, see, we have unlike amounts. We've got milligrams here and grams here, so we have to add a conversion. 1,000 milligrams equals 1 gram. That's important. That's why you have to know your conversions. Right? So let's set up the problem. And what that do, we'll just add another step. So we're looking for mLs. So we start with mLs. We've got 2 mLs per 0.5 grams. To keep the problem flowing, I have to add my conversion. So we know 1 gram, and remember they have to be diagonally, gram over gram like that. So 1 gram equals 1,000 milligrams. We have to have another conversion, milligrams here, and that's where we put our 35 milligrams. And we're done setting the problem up, so I put a 1 there. All right, so now we want to cross out gram, gram, milligram, milligram. We've set the problem up properly. So now we've got, I think it comes out to 70 over 500, and that comes to a roundable answer, 0.14. We have to round to the nearest tenth, so it's 0.1. Always make sure you know how to round. So review that if you need to. But in this problem, which makes it different, is you needed to know the conversion for grams to milligrams. Let's move on to number 5. Amoxicillin 250 milligrams PO every 8 hours is to be given for otitis media, which is an ear infection. The amoxicillin label reads 500 milligrams per 5 mLs. How many teaspoons per dose will the nurse administer to the child? This problem involves a conversion, teaspoons to ml, that you have to know. So you need to memorize that. Okay, so our answer label here is teaspoons. So I'm going to write our data down. We've got 500 milligrams per 5 mLs. The dose that the doctor ordered is 250 milligrams. Q 8 hours, which means every 8 hours, whether we may or may not need that. We'll just have to see. We don't always need all the information that's given, but we'll see. And we have to add our conversion, and we know that 1 teaspoon equals 5 mLs. If you don't know your conversion, you're not going to get the problem right. You'll struggle. So make sure you know that. So now, let's set up this problem. Teaspoon equals. And what we're looking for is teaspoons per dose. And that's important. So I'm going to set it up in what's called a 2-part answer label. Teaspoon over dose. And you'll see why that's important. Because it says to give it every 8 hours. But that's going to trick you up. What we're looking for is how many teaspoons for 1 individual dose. So actually, this Q8 hours is not needed, all right? Not needed. It's what we call a distractor. So you don't have to use all the information we give you. All right, so because I have a double label here, you always start the problem off with the top label. So we start off with teaspoons. Well, that's not part of the original information you were given, but I do have it in the form of a conversion. So this is the type of problem I'm starting off by using my conversion, which is 1 teaspoon equals 5 mLs. Now, since I have a lot of data here, sometimes I'll put a check here after I use it, just to keep myself straight. Now, I have to have a match with mLs. So I look over here and there's an mL. 5 mLs over 500 milligrams. All right, I've used that. I need another milligram. Well, there it is, 250. Diagonal match, 250 milligrams per dose. And that's how you set up this problem. I do not need this. This comes out to 1250 over 2500, which equals 0.5. Leave your answer just like this. And also, when you have an answer that is less than 1, you have to have a leading 0. Remember that. So it's 0.5. So in this particular problem, you do not need the Q8H or 3 or anything in there. This can be a tricky problem. mL, mL, milligram, milligram, dose. Yeah, don't do that, dose. All right, so we're good to go. Hopefully, that one was a little bit trickier, but still sets up nicely if you know your conversion.